Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to today's TSF1 Greece Podcast for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Today with me I have got Panos. Hello, Panos.
Hello, Alex.
And unfortunately we don't have Dimitris because he's currently in Corfu and the situation there is seeming like it's getting a bit out of hand, so he cannot attend.
Let's hope for the best.
Podcast. Yes, so let's hope for the best. Now, Panos, please do us the honors and start with the free practice and the qualifying.
Of course. So we have the Hungarian Grand Prix. Pre-practice 1 on Friday. We have in first place George Russell with a whopping 138.795. Second place Oscar Piastri, McLaren starting strong. And in third place Lance Stroll. Free practice 2, we have Leclerc in the first place with 1:17.606. Second, Lando Norris, showing us McLaren still has the pace. And in third, we have Pierre Gasly. Free practice 3, Saturday morning. In first place, we have Lewis Hamilton. Second place, Max Verstappen. And third place, Sergio Perez. And we move on to qualifying. Out of Q2, out of Q2, we have in 16th place Alexander Albon, 17th Yuki Tsunoda with the Alpha Tauri, 18th George Russell. Dimitri, where are you? 19th Kevin Magnussen, and 20th Logan Sargent.
I was really hoping he was here. I mean,
me too.
But okay.
We move on to Q2. Out of Q3, we have in 11th place Carlos Sainz. Okay. 12th place happens. 12th we have Esteban Ocon. 13th Daniel Ricciardo.
The big comeback.
Back again. 14th we have Lance Stroll, and 15th Pierre Gasly. Our top 10 is as so. We have in first place, after a very long time, Sir Lewis Hamilton, only 3 milliseconds ahead of Max Verstappen.
And we saw that also on the beginning of the race. It was just the first straight.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, Mercedes fans, I'm a bit mean to you, but okay. I mean, we support Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
We're Ferrari.
So, yeah. You get Ferrari. The sarcasm, I guess.
Second place Max Verstappen. Third place Lando Norris. Fourth Oscar Piastri. He's moving up. Fifth Zhou Guanyu for no reason.
Surprise, surprise.
No one saw that coming. Sixth Charles Leclerc. Seventh Valtteri Bottas with the second Alfa Romeo. 7th, 8th Fernando Alonso, 9th Sergio Perez. Disappointing Saturday, to be honest.
Are we possibly seeing a Daniel Ricciardo in his place for next season?
I'm hoping so. I mean, we can hope for a comeback after the summer break.
I'm asking for a friend.
And 10th place Nico Hülkenberg with Haas Ferrari.
Great. So, moving on to the race. So, we had a nice Sunday race. The track temperatures were actually really hot, nearly 50 degrees Celsius, turning the whole event into a true test for tire endurance. So the Pirellis were under the spotlight, and the drivers who could keep them alive in the intense heat truly shone. The race was afoot even before the flag dropped, with an early curveball thrown into the mix. So as we saw the covers being lifted, we got a glimpse of the top 10 tire choices in the first 10 drivers. All of them opted for the yellow band mediums, except for Perez, who started 9th on hards, and Sainz, who kicked off from position 11 on softs. Under the bright hot sunshine, a whopping 300,000 fans filled the stands to capacity. I mean, I think it was again a record attendance. I mean, this year every track has literally broke record attendance. That's great. I guess that's a bit also of the Netflix effect, as many say. Maybe not. The top 10 drivers took their positions on the grid in the following order. As Pano said, we had from 1 to 10th Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Zhou, Leclerc, Bottas, Alonso, Perez and Hülkenberg. So the race basically started with a bang as Verstappen of course outmaneuvered Hamilton to turn 1, and I say of course because what did we expect, honestly? Hamilton got a bit caught up in the whole moment while Piastri cleverly cut inside to secure second place. Both McLarens managed to slip past him, with Norris settling into third, leaving the poleman Hamilton in fourth. Behind them, Sainz had a stellar opening lap on the softs, moving up to sixth place. However, the first lap wasn't kind to everyone, as we saw. A collision between Gasly and Ocon, triggered by Zhou's late braking into turn 1, resulted in a DNF for both Alpines. The most intense battle was between Perez and Alonso, with a line of cars forming behind the Aston Martin and Red Bull, fighting for the 7th place. Meanwhile, Verstappen was setting a blistering pace at front, surprise surprise, pulling 2 seconds ahead of Piastri within the first few laps. And I think he was not even trying. So, as we saw the race progress, the order began to shuffle as we went into the pit stops. The McLaren team we saw put on a thrilling show during their pit stop, with Norris managing to get ahead with a clever undercut. Verstappen was, as always this Sunday as well, on a league of his own, galloping toward his 44th win with a comfortable 4.5 seconds of lead ahead of everyone else. Meanwhile, Perez was steadily climbing the ranks, making a daring move to take 5th place on lap 28. After we had the first round of pit stops, Verstappen was at this point 7 seconds ahead of Norris, who had a 4-second gap to his teammate Piastri. Perez, now on mediums, was the fastest of the top 10 during this phase of the race, steadily catching up to Hamilton and Piastri. So, as we went on with the race and we started approaching the final laps, the battle for the podium heated up. Perez and Hamilton began a fierce fight for 4th place, while Verstappen maintained a comfortable lead. Norris and Perez were engaged in a thrilling cat-and-mouse chase for the 2nd place, while Hamilton found a late surge of pace to take the 4th from Piastri. In the end, we had, once again, a Max Verstappen emerging victorious, sweeping the floor with a commanding half-a-minute lead. Let's just take a moment and appreciate that. 30 seconds in Hungaroring. It's amazing. Norris also put up a valiant fight to secure 2nd place, while Perez rounded off the podium with a fantastic recovery drive. So that was it pretty much for the race. I think it was a good race. It was funny when we were at the podium, where once again Norris did his own thing, opening the champagne bottle and accidentally destroyed Verstappen's prize, let's say first place prize. But I guess the broken prize will forever tell a story. Mm-hmm. I think that was it pretty much. What do you think of the race, Panos? I think it was a good race. It was
a strategic race, to be honest. We didn't see a lot of fights, apart from Perez passing everyone.
That's why Ferrari failed again.
To be honest, the first pit stop of Leclerc was 9.5 seconds.
I thought they were going to retire the car.
What can we expect from Ferrari at this point? We all know Leclerc is a driver who performs on his psychology. If he doesn't have good psychology, he doesn't perform that well. If he is in a good mood, he can even
wonders. But I guess it's the same thing as discussed by Christian Horner and Nico Rosberg on the post-qualifying commentary. So Christian Horner said that Verstappen, he maybe would be a bit faster to take P1, so to be on pole, because he slipped at a point. Then Nico Rosberg said that, Hamilton did the same thing. So, but I think what we see on qualifying is just the same thing as with I don't know, any other sort of motorsport that has, or sport that has a qualifying phase. You're not a one lap hero. I mean, the true pace is shown in racing, on a longer distance, in a longer duration. We also saw that once again strategy played an important. Yes, I mean it's the same thing as we say in the WEC where we talk about endurance. It's there. It's pacing, not really racing, for the most part of the race, except the beginning and the end. But again, also here on Formula One, I mean the whole game is played. Basically, if you have a faster car, you can afford the strategy mistake if you have got enough laps, because you just will make up for it, and that's in most cases not a problem. I mean, we saw Perez fighting. Okay, he took his time, he finished third, but I mean he started way down, so I think that's the proof. You have to be consistent. I mean, Mercedes is also has brought great upgrades, and the car is really on a class of its own. It's they are also second on the Constructor Championship, but we're also seeing McLaren for a second race in a row performing flawlessly. Now it will be interesting to see over the coming weekend how things evolve, and what results we will see on Spa-Francorchamps, on the Belgian Grand Prix, which is also the last race before the summer break. And but I mean, Spa is a way faster racetrack, so basically having the power and the straight line speed will help a lot.
Exactly.
So I think that's pretty much it. We would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to today's podcast. We look forward to hearing you again, to you hearing us again next week with the Belgian Grand Prix. Till then, we wish you a nice day. Bye bye.